Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Trackies, after today, let's just say that at the World Championships in the women's 200 meters, barring any mishaps, all things remaining equal, we are going to see some absolute fireworks. Now, why am I saying this? Well, earlier on today at the Miramar Invitational, we saw Julian Alfred and, of course, Sharika Jackson come out in that 300 meters, showing that, hey, one, Julian Alfred, being the Olympic champion in the 100 meters, has strong intent in that 200 meters as well. She was not satisfied with silver behind a Gabby Thomas. And then, of course, we have Sharika Jackson, the double champion, the defending champion. She is not about to give up her 200-meter crown. No way, Jose. So both of them competed in that 300 meters and ran 36.05 seconds and also 36.11 seconds respectively, right? Very, very solid performances. And as far as I'm concerned, look very, very intentional as well as it relates to how they're competing. And I can't look forward to that 200 meters. Now, the big thing coming out of that was the Olympic champion, Gabby Thomas. Where does this leave her if we have Sharika Jackson that's coming back after injury looking so good? And of course, the Olympic champion in the 100 meters and in the 200 meters wants to go for 2 goals this time around. What will happen? Well, guess what? Gabby was like, stop, wait a minute. I got something for y'all. Well, at the Grand Slam League in the women's 400 meters for the long sprint section track is what? A fantastic 400 meters we just watched. Now, going into the meet, y'all know I did a preview video, prior to this. Well, that was my only preview video, unfortunately, because yeah, so much is going on TSC Track Time. But that being said, I did that preview video and I said, here what? It's gonna take some beating to beat a Salwa Idnasa that has already run 48.94 seconds. I said, given how these athletes typically open their season, especially like a Marley Paulino with a 50-point mid, I'm like, look here, 50-point mid isn't gonna cut it. And track is these athletes turned up ready. Salwa was off like a rocket. She ran that race like she's running at 200 meters. Actually, what I saw in this 400 meters is how I expected her to run the 2, which is why I was so surprised last evening when she was 4th in that race. I was like, I was kind of expecting you to be second to Gabby. That was really what I was expecting in that 200 meters. I did say that in my video as well. So I was pretty surprised seeing Salwa coming 4th. But she was like, listen, I don't know what happened yesterday. I'm ready now to run. I'm definitely ready to run. And she bangs out a 48.67 seconds. Look here, this is April. The season just started. I want to go on a world championship. So, what record we look for? Are we looking for a world record in that 400 meters? I started the video saying that the 200 meters is going to be crazy, but the 400 meters is probably going to be crazier because if Salwa gets back down to her third fastest ever, performance and even faster, and then up against the likes of a Marley Paulino, against the other athletes, whether it be Jamaicans, Americans that will come in. Ooh, 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 ooh. That's a sweet, sweet 400. But back to the 200 because I want to spice it too. Gabby Thomas runs something absolutely ridiculous, taking down Amar Lady Paulino. Now, look here. I thought, in my opinion, that it would be, I don't want to say easy, because as I said, this is early season. This is the beginning of the season. And I looked at Gabby. Gabby ran that 4x1. I did say to you that Gabby looks like she's in great shape. And then also she ran a 4x4. And I'm like, all right. She looks a bit sharper than a Marlady looks, but I think Marlady will pull out something to get her ahead of potentially a Gabby. Look here, Gabby said, "All right, me know say I gotta pull out like an extra. Me have like an extra too." I was like, "What?" Track is she ran just to quote the time correctly, 49.14 seconds. I was like, "Say what now?" When I saw her steamrolling past, and I mean not steamrolling past Jackies, but hanging on for their life, to take down a Lady Paulina, and then also at the same time watching Salwa cross the line and seeing that 48.67, I was like, I knew the time was ridiculous. I knew the time was absolutely ridiculous, Jackies. And yeah, Gabby really, really blasted off everybody's heads when it came to that 400 meters. So she was like, you guys, I see you over there in that 300 meters, and guess what? I'm gonna raise you 4. So right now we're literally back in that tussle where we're like, at this particular point, nobody no look better than nobody. If after that 300 meters we were potentially harboring ideas and thoughts of Sharika Jackson defending and potentially Julian coming in and maybe overtaking or overthrowing a Gabby, Gabby put it right back to square one, back to zero, and I'm absolutely loving it. This is what competition is all about. I love when it's hard to call races. I love when you can go either way or the race can go either way and it's still exciting regardless track is. And that's what we are going to see, I believe, at the World Championships. As I said, I'm just hoping everybody remains healthy because we're really seeing some ridiculous performances this early in the season. I mean, this is more than I thought, right? I don't know if the track had anything to do with it, given that the performances in the other events weren't that necessarily fast. But listen, I don't know if it's Salwa dragged them. Maybe it's Salwa. I'm gonna give credit to Salwa. Salwa really dragged everybody to that performance because oh my gosh, she was out like a rocket and kept going. I'm happy seeing Salwa back. I know some people, have their thoughts when it comes to her, coming back into competing. Chuck is, I have no thoughts when it comes to this, honestly. I've always liked her, as an athlete. I loved her in 2019 and seeing her back, I'm happy. I don't know if she was ever on anything, given that what she did was miss, drug test. So let us see what happens going forward. I'm just praying that the sport is clean as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, great performance, Chuck is from these women in the 400 meters. But yeah, Gabby is like, I see your three, I raise you four. Argument done. All right. Now, Jackies, I want to jump into the short sprint hurdles. As I name sprint hurdles. Child, look here. They have some name for these events. Okay, short hurdles. Right. So the event came up and Tia Jones ended up taking the win. She ran at 12.63. I think this went, according to form. She was the form athlete. She opened her season already, ran the fastest so far. So yeah, I would say that this went to form. Daniel Williams was second. She ran at 12.70 seconds. Pretty close race with herself and Jasmine Camacho Queen, the same 12.70, just separated by the thousand. So and for now they're separated by points. 12.86 for top three. Akira was just off that fourth with her time of 12.57, with Masai there with 12.78 for fifth, and she's the Olympic champion. Overall track is, it's really hard to gauge a race, especially when quite a number of them are coming in for the season for the first time, right? You may have been able to look at Tia and say, okay, she seems to be the form athlete, right? Daniel hadn't run, Jasmine hadn't run, Akira hadn't run, Masai hadn't run, Denisha Cartwright hadn't run, and I believe maybe Amber Hughes also hadn't run as well. So this is pretty much the first 100-meter hurdles race for them. I think this was very solid running for these athletes. Masai, and even though Akira competed at the World Indoor Championships, yeah, before that she was barely running anything. Masai had her first little races in the early part of the 60-meter season and then stopped, you know what I mean? So there was not much competitive races for these athletes. I'm actually impressed with Jasmine, to be fair, and also Danielle, given that none of them ever run indoors, right? And they came out so strong. So really, really strong competition in the women's hurdles, like it always is. I'm excited to see them over the 100. I want to see, I've been seeing some interesting flipping out some scripts, when it comes to, competing in, the pet event versus the event that you're not so strong in. So I'm interested in that 100 because Akira goes in as the fastest hurdler. So it'll be interesting to see how she goes there. Given that I've witnessed, I believe, Masai running at 100 meters recently. Oh, did Masai? I'm not really sure if it was Masai, but anyway, I think it's going to be really good over that 100 meters. So we stay tuned for that for tomorrow. Now, in the men's 200 meters track is, well, I mean, it was done and dusted, from the get go. From you realize that Kenny took that 100, there was not much to say about the 200. He went in as absolute favorite. Absolute favorite. And yeah, he, took it. He took it 100% in that 200 meters. He won with a 20.07 seconds. When it comes to, I don't like how they put up the results sheet. I'm kind of confused as it relates to where the athletes placed in the race. That being said, I believe Zarnel was second in the race, 23.37. And then Oblique was fifth in the race, 20.43. And then we had Akeem Blake, who was seventh with a 20.68 in the race. It was a very, very interesting 200 meters, given what I've seen and Akeem Blake and also an Oblique Civil do so far for the season. This is what I will say for Oblique, right? This looked to me like a strength run because his first 100 was, not what you'd get from a, athlete that runs the 100 meters more than anything else, right? That was actually the weakest part of his race, and then he came back really strong towards the end of the race. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, look here, this is absolute no speed work. But it's early season, so I wasn't expecting them to be doing anything speed related anyway. But it just really hones in some more how good he's probably gonna be when they finally put everything together, because this to me just looks like absolute just strength, just powering through the field, and he was able to claw himself to a fifth place in this race. I'm happy for the performance from him, and I like the intention that I'm seeing, that at least that's what I think I'm seeing from a coaching perspective. And I can't wait to see when they tack on, he shed some of those pounds, because it does look a bit heavy as well. So when he shed some of that weight and they stack on the speed work, Oblique is going to be flying. He's definitely going to be flying. So I'm here for it. Akeem, I'm not really sure as it relates to the plan when it comes to the performances that I've seen earlier versus no, because he has gone much faster already. But again, it's still early season, so I'm not making much of a fuss as it relates to where he has placed. I love the fact that these athletes are getting in competitive 200s, and it can only bode well for their 100s as far as I'm concerned. And remember as well, Track, is that this is back to back competing as well. They ran a strong competitive 100 yesterday, and then they came back for the two. They've never really done this before. So with that being said, I'm really happy to see how well they're competing in these one-off events for this particular competition. Now, even though I said they've never done this before, clearly they go to trials and they run back-to-back races, right? But I mean, on the circuit, you don't really see them compete like this. So I still think it was pretty good from the athletes in general, right? So yeah, I mean, Kenny just kind of swept everybody. It was an easy run for him to clear the field and yeah, go away with 100,000. Anyway, Trackies, that's it for my thoughts as it relates to what went on in this video. Please head on over to TXT Track Time News, and if y'all have any ideas to change the channel name, because I think the channel name is boring. If you have any thoughts, y'all can tell me in the comment section as well. I'll change the name, right? Subscribe over there. Subscribe. Right? I really need y'all support. I really need to get that channel to 1,000 subscribers. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I'm already being shadow banned on the channel right now. So it's crazy. My the videos aren't being recommended anymore, unfortunately, as much, right, as much as I would like. So yeah, I can just feel the writing on the wall. So assist TXT Track Time with the other channel, please. That being said, let me know your thoughts, and I'll catch you in another video. Remember, I'm posting the videos over on TXT Track Time News as well, so check the videos out there as well. And yeah, subscribe, guys, subscribe. Thank you. Bye.